welcome back to INFPeople. It's raining outside right now. Hopefully you guys can't hear it if I did a good enough job editing. But yeah, I love the rain, and I feel, not inspired, but I just feel nice when it's raining. I told my wife once that I love the rain, and she said that, yeah, me too, when I'm inside. And yeah, I guess that's true because I was planning on shooting outside today in nature, because I feel really inspired when I'm not in nature, but then it started raining. So, like I said in my last video, I'm living in the Philippines, and it's the rainy season, so it rains almost every day, and you can almost set your watch by it. It's like 3 o'clock every day it rains, but today it came early, so I'm just going to film in here for today. Today, I think I'm going to talk about a little bit about my journey in love, since I figure I'll probably be talking about my wife a lot, like just using her as an example when I'm talking. So I figure I'll introduce you guys to her, like our story, our love story. So let's see. So yeah, a few years back, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, I moved to Thailand. I moved to Bangkok to teach English as a second language. And I ended up staying there, living in Thailand for about 2.5 years. And in like my third or fourth month in Thailand, when I was in Bangkok, I met my wife. We both worked for the same agency in Bangkok. And so first, I'm just going to tell you about the story of how we first the first time we went out together, the first time we hung out, like in a group setting. She's an ISFJ, just so you know, so I'll be talking about that often too, like INFP ISFJ relationship. I never see that anywhere online, and I'm not a subscriber to the notion that like certain types are better for each other than other types or something like that. I think two mature people can make any relationship work, and it doesn't matter what your type is. It might be simpler for some types to connect, but I don't think that it really matters that much. But so anyway, the first time we hung out was like a work gathering. A bunch of people from work were getting together that worked at the same agency in Bangkok. And so I met her a couple of times before. My best friend, one of my best friends there in Thailand, Sunny, he's from India, he introduced me to her. So they had known each other for like a year. And he was like, oh yeah, I want you to meet my friend. We were going past the office one time, and he was like, yeah, I want you to meet my friend who I'm trying to get a job here at our agency. And our agency was kind of like not really the best place to work, so I was like, why would you introduce your friend to this agency? And I'm like, what are you doing? But anyway, so I met her the first time, and I was just like, oh, she's gorgeous, like she's beautiful. And in Thailand, well, to me at least, there are a lot of attractive women there. So for my wife to be stunning to me in the midst of all those other beautiful women, I was like, yeah, she might be the one. I don't know, but so yeah, I met her a couple times. I'd seen her around in our office, but I didn't really ever say that much to her. But so one night, the company was getting together and like playing badminton, popular there, and then we were gonna go out and have drinks afterwards. So it was the first time that we ever hung out, and we call it blend night because they have this. I don't know if it's whiskey or rum, but yeah, it's something like some kind of hard liquor that they have in Thailand called blend. And that night, after we played badminton, we all went out and hung out, and we were drinking a lot of blend. And just like we were all having a good time, drank a lot. But so yeah, I was talking to my wife, or no, well, I was talking. We were sitting at a table, and we were all just talking, and she said something about, or somebody said something about somebody that we had seen that night, reminding them of her. And I just made a comment like, yeah, or they asked like, what do you think, Derek? Or you think that she reminded you of Mia? And I was like, yeah, but she wasn't as attractive though. And so that was like the first thing I ever really said to her that was like, that hinted at that I might be into her or something. And so, like, as the night went on, I started hanging out with her more instead of talking to my friends that I already knew there from the company. And yeah, so I don't know how much I want to reveal on here, but so yeah, we were hanging out, we were talking, and yeah, it got a little bit wild while we were out there, and so my wife had a different perspective on this whole story, so maybe I'll let her tell her side of it one day, but she just was like, she basically attacked me like with her mouth, like no. She was all over me. No, we were both into. I guess we were both into each other, but so yeah. So that was one night, and then but eventually she kind of sobered up and was like, "Oh, what have I done? Like, I'm not like this. I don't know why I was like acting like that." And she ran off with Sunny into the night in Bangkok, and so I was thinking like, man, I mean, I guess I'll never see her or hang out with her again because she was like really didn't want to have anything to do with me once she sobered up. And so I was like, all right, well, I mean, that was a fun night. That was cool. Nice experience. But so maybe like a couple, like I didn't really see her for like a couple of weeks. And yeah, her friend, so our friend, Sonny, was like, I was asking him later, like, well, like, are you into Mia? Or like I don't want to step on your toes or anything if that's somebody that you're interested in, because I was friends with Sonny first, and he told me like, no, we're just friends or whatever. So I was like, all right, so this is something that I can pursue then. And so maybe a couple of weeks later, me and her and Sonny got together again. Sonny took us to an Indian restaurant in Thailand or in Bangkok, and yeah, so we hung out then, and then from there we started hanging out more and more, and then it's kind of history from then on. So we yeah, I took her on our first date to Chatuchak Park. It's like one of the biggest parks in Bangkok, kind of like, I wouldn't say like Central Park in New York, because there's another park that's called Lumpini that's a little bit bigger, but Chatuchak was my favorite place, and it ended up being our favorite place. So yeah, I remember we went there, and we were like, it was just like really crazy how fast everything went with us. Like, I don't know, I don't know. It just, everything happened like really fast. Like, I was just really into her like really quickly, more than I had been with anybody else before. It was like fate. Like, we were just like the stars of the line. Like, she's from the Philippines, I'm from America, and we just met in Bangkok. Like, we were just there at the right time in the right place. And yeah, I remember when we were at Chatuchak Park, we were just looking at the clouds in the park, and we were like naming things that we saw in the clouds. I consider myself like an imaginative person. Like, I think most INFPs are very imaginative. We have like decent imagination. But I remember that day, for whatever reason, I just couldn't see anything in the clouds, and she was just like, "Oh, look at that! It's a dog, or it's this and that," and like all this creative stuff. And I was just like, "Wow!" Like, she's super cool. Like, what an imagination, what a mind. So, and that was like our first date, and it was yeah, it was like, man, this girl is like she's really amazing. Yeah, so I want to say like a bunch of really nice stuff, because later I want to get into, or not later in this video, but like eventually I'll talk about like our life and like not like hardships necessarily, but just like differences between INFPs and ISFJs. So yeah, we had the first date at Chatuchak Park, and the first time she invited me to her house, she had me try balut. I'll put a picture of what balut is up here. And I just found out like 2 weeks ago that she has never tried balut herself, and it is not good. Now I'm a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian for about a year, And thanks to her, because she cooks me vegetarian food, and it's so good. I tried to become a vegetarian a few years ago, and only lasted for like a month because I just never felt full or satiated. I didn't really know what to eat, but my wife cooks me great vegetarian dishes. She's an amazing cook. Um, but yeah, so we tried. She showed me balut, and I ate it, and I try. I like to try new things. Uh, but it was not very good. And then I just found out when we were hanging out with our neighbors that she has never even tried balut herself. She was telling me, well, when we had it, like, oh yeah, I've already tried it before, so you just have it, and I don't need to eat it again. I didn't really like it, but it's something that you should try. So I was like, oh okay, well yeah, let me just do that. But yeah, so that was our first night. Or not our first night, but it was our first my first time hanging out with her at her place, and so yeah, it just all moved really fast. Like I never before I met her, I never planned on getting married. I didn't want to have kids. Like I always said, like I don't want to bring a child into this world. It's not like a good place for people. It's just not a good place. The world isn't, so I don't want to bring a kid here. And but when I met her, everything just was it was all different. It was almost like a spiritual experience. And I'll talk more about like spirituality in other videos. I don't want to get into that heavy stuff right away, but I felt like it was like before I met her, I wouldn't say that I had like a hard life, but I just always felt like things were. I mean, everybody suffers, right? So, uh, and once I met her, I felt like all anything that happened in my life up to that point, like any kind of suffering or hardship I had, it was all worth it because it led me to her, and it was like that was the whole point of life was to for us to connect and to meet. So yeah, I know that sounds so romantic. I love you, my love. I hope you're watching this. So. But yeah, I mean, that's how I was feeling. Like within maybe the first month, I think it was within the first month, I had told her I love her, and she did not say it back to me. It was a typical like INFP. I felt like an unrequited love sort of thing. Like she was like, "Really?" I was like, "I love you." Too. Really? But a few weeks later, she said it back to me after I told her I wanted to move in with her, and she was just like, "Oh, I love you too." And so I was like, "Oh yeah, good, that's great." uh, one of her cousins was talking to me about like our love story, and and they were like how romantic it was, and I was just thinking like, I never really thought about it as a romantic thing. And then I thought like, well, from her perspective, it probably was very romantic because I was all like, just always saying like how much I love her and like how she changed my life and my outlook on the world and stuff. And but for me, I was like, I love you, and she said, really? And it didn't faze me though because I was just so in love. I was just like, all right, well, what can I do to get her to return this feeling? And and then later, like, and then so everything happened really fast. And like I was saying before, I never planned on having kids, but that was something that was very important to her. And for me, at the time, I was just like I didn't even think about what I had already thought about before about not having children. I was like, yeah, well, we should have a kid because I love her so much, and it will things will work out. Like the whole world just looked different to me. Like, I mean, I kind of have rose-colored glasses on anyway, and just in general in life. But when I first met my wife, it was like taken up to the nth level. Like it was just everything was okay. Like I'm a very well before I would say I was very like political, like in the social activism and stuff, and like just very concerned. I mean, I'm still concerned with this stuff, but like very concerned with the plight of the oppressed, and that's something I still care about very deeply. But when I first met my wife, I was like, man, stuff is hard, life is hard, but if you find love, then it's not so bad. Like everything, it's at least you're not in it alone. Like that's the way I kind of felt. Like before, it was me against the world, but now I have like once I met my wife, it was like, well, hey, I can get through this with her help, or with her there beside me. So yeah, so when and then like it wasn't even it was just a few months that we decided that we were together. We decided to have a child. And like I wouldn't recommend this to people, but I mean it worked out for us. It's not something I would recommend like for most people, but everything just for us it just was just it all just clicked. Like it was like I've been looking for you all this time in my whole life, and yeah. So I mean it was just like this was something that was meant to be. I mean I sort of believed in destiny before, but it was just like this is what the world was, and like it was like it was almost like she was made for me. Like before we were even born, like I was like this is the thing now. This is the kind of person that I would want for myself in this life. And then I came down and then found her, and then like that's where. And then we got together, and it was like, oh yeah, I found the person that was made for me here, like my other half. So like Plato said. But yeah, so we decided to have a child, and I remember I took her back to Choppy Chalk Park where we had our first date to propose to her. There's like these little boat things, the pedal boats that you can take on the little lake there, and and, um, and like our first kiss before or after that blend night experience was underneath one of the bridges at the Choppy Chalk Park, and And so when I proposed to her, I took her back there, and like I had this whole speech like about how much I love her and how she changed my world and all this stuff. And I brought out the ring, and I was like, "Will you marry me?" And she was like, she was like, "Really? Are you sure?" And I was like, I was like, "Yes, I'm sure. Like I brought you here. I got this ring and all this, uh, and then she was like, "Oh, wait, just do it. Say it again." And so I went through the whole thing again, like, "Oh, you know, you changed my world. I love you so much," and then all this, and then she said yes or whatever. But that was another instance that, from her perspective, it probably seemed a lot more romantic. But for me, it was like I was like, "Well, will you marry me?" And she's like, "Are you sure about that? Like, you really want to do that?" But yeah, so that was like the beginning of our journey. Um, a very like euphoric in love, like part of our relationship. Now it's like it's moved on to a real love. So it's different. It's not like these butterfly feelings anymore. But now it's like really getting to know each other and like living together. That's something that I've read at least that INFPs sometimes have problems with like the real aspects of a relationship. Like we're very, or at least I'm like very dreamy, like romantic and like idealistic. INFPs tend to be idealistic, but yeah, I'll talk more about our like normal day to day life in another video. When I talk about like INFP and ISFJ relationships. But yeah, I just want to share with you guys that journey, the love journey of ours, our love story. I have on one of our many couples shirts. Han Solo saying "I know," and she has the one with Princess Leia saying "I love you." Even though it was sort of like the opposite with our relationship when I said "I love you," but I think it's funny that to have to wear these together since that sort of happened, and it wasn't at all like that. That I was the one that was all just the dreamy one that had her on a pedestal, and I just, oh, the love of my life, I can't believe it. But yeah, this video is getting a little bit long, so I think I'll stop it here for today. So I hope you enjoyed our story. At least for people that are close to us, they'll be able to enjoy this. But I love you, my love. Thanks for watching, all the INF people and all the people out there. Peace and love.